Welcome back to Brain Overboard. In this game, I played black, and after a wild kingside battle, I delivered checkmate on g2. You know I had to come back from my loss. Let's break it down. White starts pawn to e4, I reply pawn to d5. They play pawn to d3, I push pawn to c5. White pushes pawn to f4, I advance pawn to d4. They develop knight to f3, I bring knight to c6. White goes pawn to g3, I strike pawn to e5. They push pawn to h4, I develop bishop to d6. White plays bishop to h3, I bring knight to f6. White tries pawn to f5, I castle kingside. Then pawn to g4, I swing queen to a5 check. They block with bishop to d2, I slide queen to b6. White pushes pawn to h5, I grab queen, takes b2. They push pawn to g5, I capture knight, takes h5. White plays g6, I answer pawn takes g6. They recapture pawn takes g6, I recapture pawn takes g6. They slide rook to g1, I capture with bishop, takes h3. They play rook takes g6, I move knight to f4. They capture, bishop takes f4. I play my queen's rook to d8. They go bishop h6, I give a check with queen to b4. They move knight to d2, I slide king to h7. White plays queen to h5, I respond rook to f1 check. They go king to e2, I go knight to e7, eyeing their rook. White plays bishop takes g7, check. I run king to g8. They check queen to h8, I slide king to f7. White goes rook to f6 check, I capture, rook takes f6. They capture, queen takes d8, I answer, king takes g7. White pushes pawn to c3, I advance pawn to d takes c3. They bring knight to c4, I push pawn to c2. White tries knight to a3, I play bishop to g4 check. Their king runs to e3. I pressure rook to f3 check. White plays king to e2. I follow close like a shark. Queen to c3. They try rook to c1. I capture queen takes d3 check. Their king moves to e1. I play queen to f1 check. They step king to d2. I slide queen to d3 check. Their king runs to e1. I strike rook to e3 check. They go king to f2. I deliver queen to e2 check. Their king slides to g1. I play rook to g3 check. They move king to h1, and I finish with queen to g2 checkmate. A wild tactical game, with both sides throwing pawns forward on the king side. In the end, my development and coordination paid off, and I sealed it with queen to g2 checkmate. When your opponent pushes pawns recklessly in front of their king, stay calm, develop your pieces, and strike back with precise tactics. The counterattack often wins. And that wraps up this game. A wild kingside fight, ending with queen to g2 checkmate. Thanks for watching, and remember, every game is a lesson. I'll see you in the next video. Pawns march, forward the end has come.